gavel is hammered and order of arrival after gavel. So we'll begin with Senator Sanders.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. And Ms. Elmendorf, thanks very much, Doctor, for being with us. Just a few questions, and if you can give me some brief answers. Is it fair to say that one of the reasons we have the deficit today has to do with two wars that were not paid for, huge tax breaks, much of which went to the wealthiest people in this country, a Medicare Part D program that was not paid for, and a Wall Street-caused recession which resulted in significant declines of revenue? Would you say that that's one of the reasons we went from a surplus at the end of Clinton's administration to where we are today?
Yes, Senator.
All right. Second question is, in terms of unemployment, the number roughly 7.8% is often thrown out. But would you agree that if you looked at real unemployment, people who have given up looking for work, people who are working part-time when they want to work full-time, that we're really looking at maybe 14%? Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Senator.
All right. Point being that we are in the midst of a major, major recession. Now, the debate that is taking place in the Congress right now is many of my Republican friends believe that the answer to the deficit problem, which all of us agree is a serious problem, is to cut Social Security, is to cut Medicare, is to cut Medicaid, is to cut programs for children. And that is true. That is one way you can go forward. But some of us believe that we have got to take a look at revenue and the fact that at 15.8% of GDP, revenue today is the lowest point that it has been almost in 60 years. Some of us also believe that we have to take a hard look at huge corporate loopholes, that before you cut a woman in Vermont who's living on $15,000 a year Social Security, you may want to end some of the loopholes that enable the Bank of America to stash their money in the Cayman Islands and not pay any taxes at all. And that's kind of what the debate is about. So let me ask you this. Just confirm if my information is right. In 1952, 32% of all revenue generated in this country came from large corporations. Today, that number is 9%. Does that sound accurate?
I'm sorry, Senator, I just don't know that fact.
Okay. In 2011, corporate revenue as a percentage of GDP was just 1.2%. Madam Chair, you remember many of our corporate friends coming here, how they're overtaxed? 1.2% of GDP happens to be, as I understand it, lower than any other major country in the OECD. So when people come in and say, oh, we're paying 35%, everybody here knows there's no corporation that pays 35%. If they do, they've got to get rid of their accountants. That, in fact, the number on profits is 12%. Is that true?
So, Senator, you're certainly right that the statutory tax rate in the corporate tax code and the average share of profits paid in tax by companies are quite different, but I don't know the precise numbers. I don't know the numbers.
Let me see if you know this one.
Countries.
In 2011, my understanding is that corporations paid just 12% of their profits in taxes, the lowest since 1972. How's that?
I think that sounds about right, Senator.
So again, the choice that we face, do you really, in the middle of a recession, want to cut Social Security benefits and Medicare benefits, or when corporations today are paying 12% of their profits and taxes, the lowest since 1972, do we think it might make more sense to ask our friends in the corporate world to pay a little bit more? Another question, I don't mean to. My understanding is that 1 out of 4 major corporations, profitable corporations in this country, in 2005, the last statistics I have seen, I'm sorry I don't have close ones, paid 0 in taxes. Does that sound right to you?
I'm sorry, Senator, I just don't know offhand. We can look these things up, but I don't carry them around in my head.
My understanding is that we are losing, and we've introduced legislation to remedy this, we're losing about $100 billion a year in revenue a year by companies offshoring their profits in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and paying 0 in taxes.
Again, Senator, I don't.
All right, let me, I know that, but do you think it is a legitimate area to pursue the fact that we have companies like Bank of America and virtually every major corporation stashing their money in the Cayman Islands, paying 0 in federal taxes? Is that something you think would be a worthwhile pursuit?
Well, I think it's certainly a legitimate issue for the Congress, and we released a report last month that reviewed the pros and cons of alternative ways of changing the tax system applying to multinational corporations.
Okay, Madam Chair, I would just conclude by saying we have a great philosophical difference in this room. And some of us think that when the wealthiest people are doing phenomenally well, when corporate profits are at an all-time high, we might want to ask those folks for more revenue rather than cutting back on the needs of some of the most vulnerable people in this country. Thank you, Madam Chair.